In this morning's Eye on Earth, we're going to take you to a place in the world's oceans where great white sharks, they are thriving again. Oh no, sharks play a key role in keeping our oceans healthy, but their numbers have plunged by more than 70% in some places. And that actually is not a good thing. This great white is still considered vulnerable, but it's making a comeback thanks to stronger environmental protections. Jonathan Vigliotti shows us one of those protected areas where the population appears to be soaring.
Good morning. There are only a handful of places in the world where you are guaranteed to see large numbers of great white sharks. Mexico's Isla Guadalupe is one of them. But the people who will be diving in these shark cages didn't travel here 18 hours by boat just to see them. They want to help protect them.
This tiny speck of rugged land is the definition of the word remote. And because it attracts diving boats like this one, it's also a beacon of hope for marine conservation.
We are in one of the most pristine, incredible hotspots for great white sharks anywhere on the planet.
Andy Casagrande is an Emmy-winning filmmaker famous for his work on Discovery Channel's Shark Week.
Let's go shark diving.
But on this boat, he's the leader of an expedition to a marine wildlife reserve protected by the Mexican government.
And there's everything in the world that one could ever want to eat here. Dolphins, seals, turtles, tuna, cage divers. Just kidding, just kidding.
Cage divers aren't in their food chain, but we are their visitors. Guests on these trips pay thousands of dollars for this experience.
Generations of great white sharks have been feeding around this island for millions of years, which makes this an underwater Jurassic Park and this cage one of the best ways to see it all.
It allows humans to see sharks up close, impersonal, with their own eyes. The nice thing here is you get to really get insight on some of their behaviors, how they interact, their hierarchy amongst the size groups, and also just how they interact with their prey. The visibility allows you to see some amazing things that you would never see anywhere else.
That was awesome, right?
That was amazing.
Oh my God.
Beautiful.
But the thrill is only the beginning. While divers marvel at the ocean's apex predators, Casagrande is gathering field data to share with scientists.
You call yourself a cinescientist. What does that mean?
Cinema science is this idea I came up with. It's the utilization of cinematography, cutting-edge technology to help illustrate and perpetuate science and conservation. It basically makes science palatable for the masses.
Marine conservationist Michael Scholl says that's the best weapon he has in the battle against what he feels is an unfair cultural stereotype.
Obviously, that's the shark that pops in everybody's head the moment you mention the name shark, the shark from Jaws. Sharks are not the monster that they've been made out to be. It's probably one of the smallest mortality causes for human beings there is.
It's gonna be a lunch. Lunch for those guys.
Crew members use bait to lure sharks closer to the cages.
Some people are critical of cage diving. They say that it's not natural for sharks to be around humans the way that they are with cages. What do you say to that?
Ecotourism does often catch flack from skeptics that'll say, well, you're throwing bait to these animals, these are wild animals, you shouldn't be feeding them. The reality is, if these ecotourist boats weren't out here, the people that would be feeding them would be poachers and fishermen that would be harvesting these white sharks. It's also a way that's garnered this area protection. There's big money in ecotourism.
The sharks are more valuable alive than dead.
100%.
And that value goes way beyond the money these people pay to go face to face with great whites.
They do change people's minds because you see this beauty, you see this gracefulness. Getting people to see the sharks for what they are basically is a huge education. And obviously those people will go back and show that to their friends, kind of a snowball effect, and changes other people's minds.
And conservation, word of mouth is vital.
Yes.
Here we go.
In that context, the most vital guest on board might have been Florida elementary school teacher Lauren Chesrow.
This was like the ultimate opportunity to bring science in the real world to my students.
Andy inspired you to come out here, and now you're going to take this home to your kids.
Absolutely.
And inspire them in return.
Absolutely.
I'm pretty sure you got the coolest teacher in the world.
What do we know about the sharks? Do they want to hurt people? No. Not at all, but...
Thanks to Chesrown, the next generation of shark conservationists is just getting started.
There he was.
To some ancient civilizations, great whites were treated as gods. To modern moviegoers, they are monsters. But their true role in our ecosystem lies somewhere in between, and the very health of our planet's oceans depends on them.
All right, Vigliotti, get back in the boat, please.
Yeah.
You're hanging out on the edge. I've been seeing him jump out of the water.
But he's raising a good point about the importance that sharks are to our environment. Most people are afraid of them, but the people that work with them and love them say it's a totally different world.
They're so powerful and so beautiful. Yeah. And I'm so envious of them.
And they're known as the ocean's top predator, but you know what? The real top predator is us.
Yes, that's right.
Exactly
That's
right.
right.